are listening to the Musical Mind Podcast with your host, Peter Harris.
Hey everybody, Peter Harris here for Inside the Musical Mind. Thanks for joining us again. If you were around in the 90s and were a fan of the music scene, you no doubt recall alt-rock icons Jellyfish. Lush harmonies, fantastic hummable melodies. Well, after being apart for several years and contributing to other high-profile acts, the three members, Roger Joseph Manning, Tim Smith, and Eric Dover, have reconvened a new band called the Lickerish Quartet. The first EP is due out on May 15th, entitled Threesome Volume 1. And more exciting than that, they also have additional EPs to be released throughout the course of the year. So Tim Smith joins me on the phone, and we discuss the new EP, the recording process, how it was getting back in the studio with these guys, and some of the songwriting processes they endured also. So I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Tim Smith. Well, first of all, I appreciate you joining us here. It's an honor to talk to you. I want to go into, of course, Lickerish Quartet. At what point did the three of you decide to get back together and record new music? Has this been something that's been years in the making, or?
Yeah, Roger and I kind of spoke in the beginning of 2017. He was on break from touring with Beck, and I had just finished playing with Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds. And, usually January for musicians is that, I like to call it Black January, because it seems like there's never any touring.
Right.
You're just kind of sitting around fumbling with your thumbs and just trying to figure out what you're going to do. And luckily we got on a call and we both were available and said, it's been a while. It would be kind of fun to try and maybe get together and see if we could come up with some songs. So in the spirit of that, I went out to Los Angeles and just hung out with he and with Eric as well, and seemed to come fairly quickly that we all had bits and pieces that were exciting for all of us to work on and collaborate. So for that, I guess we've been working on it since 2017, but it's been between each of us having to do other tours or work with other folks, so it's been in bits and pieces since then.
Gotcha. Now, the main thing that stuck out to me, and much like Jellyfish, but the production on this EP is really stellar. I mean, it really is, Tim.
Thank you.
Were you all together? Were you getting together in a studio? Were you busting tracks in and emailing each other? I mean, what was the physical situation?
Most of the time, we tried to do as much as we could together. So I think I went out to Los Angeles a total of maybe 6 or 7 times for anywhere of 10 to 15 days at a time. We were really fortunate that we worked with an executive producer who sort of helped us finance all this. We probably couldn't have done it without him. In fact, I know we couldn't have. But it allowed us the chance to also have some time between things to work out things at home. I did a little bit of stuff at home, usually with things that were incidental tracks, like maybe a keyboard overdub here and there that I think of while I was home. And, the technology's gotten to the point where we can fly stuff around and, virtually and post tracks in Dropbox and stuff.
Right.
But for the most part, we would have to, especially in the vocal thing, we'd all kind of have to be there to create our vocal sound and, take our, each pitch maybe would be tripled, and then each person would do theirs 3 times and stuff. So you kind of have to be there for that.
Sure.
Just to be able to sing all the syllables the same way and everything.
That makes sense. It sounds, did you record your bass direct, or do you still ever mic and amp, or what do you usually do in the studio?
We did kind of everything, all of those things, just kind of depended on what the song needed. I use for live and also for some recording, I use one of those Noble Tube DIs. It sounds great on its own. And then sometimes I'd run it through an amp, and we'd split the signal and use a little bit of both on different sections of the song. I also have a Kemper, so I would use that. That became a real easy tool in the studio. To at least, if I couldn't dial in the sound that we were all super happy with, it would get us in the ballpark, because you can sit there and go through, let's see what all these different AC-30s sound like versus a Marshall or whatever. See, it's so much easier and quicker as a tool, at the very least as a tool, if you can't get the big proper amps in a studio. But for me, going back and forth from Atlanta to Los Angeles, it made it easier for me to carry my Kemper than having to go and rent or borrow amps all the time in Los Angeles.
Sure. Of course, the opposite problem is the infinite possibilities situation with all the digital modeling and stuff. You could just go forever, just experimenting.
Yeah, and I have a very low threshold for that. I glaze over after about 3 clicks of different sounds, and so we kind of stayed in the same. It's funny, I actually ended up using a lot more of the probably more esoteric modeler people that would be like from, I don't know, dance bands and stuff, and a lot of them were like weird direct sounds, like creating the sound like direct into the console. I found those more useful for me than the minutiae of the different, tonal qualities of 15,000 different Princeton models or whatever.
Right.
I just glaze over on that. So yeah, I mean, if I can stay in a good AC-30 realm, maybe make a couple of things through a high line or something, that's kind of where I'm going to sit anyway, so it wasn't that difficult.
Right. I can't really tell, like on Lighthouse Spaceship, for example, are you using fingers or a pick?
On the bass?
Yeah.
It's with a pick. Yeah, it's very compressed. I use also one of those, I can't remember the name of the company, but it's like an 1176 and a pedal. Cali Arts, I think, or Cali something.
Okay.
So I use that in conjunction with the Noble DI, and then I play a pick and we compress it even more. I was kind of going for a little bit of a Trevor Bolder, Bowie type thing, even though he played with his fingers a lot. We were one of the things we were going for was that kind of attack on some of the earlier Bowie songs.
Well, that's speaking of compression, that's one of the things I love about the mix on this new EP is you have individual instrumentation compressed tightly, but there's not a wall of compression over the whole record like so many do, which is fantastic. I mean, it really stands out, and the individual tracks breathe, so it's really job well done.
In Jellyfish, Jack Joseph Puig was sort of known for how he did all that compression stuff. I found at times it becomes a little fatiguing when everything is so super compressed, and a lot of people obviously have been doing that in the last 10 years or whatever. There's a fine line for that for us, and because our music is so dense anyway, you just have to be really careful. It took a lot of time in the mixing stage for Roger to work with Ken, our mixing engineer, to get all that stuff done. Right.
Now, when you're writing, like There Is a Magic Number, you wrote on this new EP, how do you approach that? Like, did you just come up with the chord changes on guitar and build from there? And, did Eric come up with the twangy part, or what's the usual, for that song specifically, what was the process?
Well, the process for all the songs was that each of us would bring in a little snippet. I think I just had the intro guitar part, the riff, the da-da-da-da-da-da, and I'd had that for years. And so we sat in a room with guitars and a piano and just tried to hash out songs that we could play just like that as much as possible. And Roger made a couple of choice chord changes that sort of hinted at what the chorus would become. Eric played a few of the sort of weird surfer type licks that set a mood or a tone for it, and that's gave me a really good basis for that. There were no lyrics, there was no lyric idea at that point. But because of the mood that they all created, it kind of informed me as to what the lyrics should be about, or at least what the tone of it should be about. And that's how they helped me in that regard.
Right. Yeah, Eric was in charge of the quote-unquote Dick Dale is sad today parts.
That just came out, that was his own thing. I mean, Eric he can put on so many different hats and do so many different things. And it's funny because you just never know with him. He's just his own wild card of creativity. So that was completely out of left field as far as I was concerned, and I loved it.
Well, that's the beauty of collaboration. I mean,
What's that?
That's the beauty of collaboration. Just one little thing that you'd never think of, but it fits. And one thing I like about that, like that song specifically, There's a Magic Number, like the bridge section is so simple, but it's effective. Like, I know in my playing, I would have overcomplicated that. I would have been like, oh, there has to be some kind of arpeggiation. There has to be something. I would have screwed it up. But it's interesting. Like, guys like you just know what it needs and what it doesn't.
Well, thanks for saying that. Yeah, the chords are pretty simple. It was supposed to be kind of emotionally driving home a point of what the whole song was sort of expressing. But it's funny, once we're having EPs printed on vinyl, and for people that get those, the side B are the instrumental versions of all the songs. And when you hear the things that Roger actually does on the keyboards in that bridge particularly, it's way more involved than you think it is. Okay. You don't hear it that way, but it creates a tension that it's just very interesting. And he's very good at, there's a mystery of that it's hard to define, and you wouldn't even necessarily know what's going on when you hear the vocal over it, which is obviously the most important thing. But so I hear what you're saying. I tend to be more complicated than I should probably be at times as well. So that's what kind of sold that part on me, because I would have probably added a few more chords, but he had arranged these keyboard parts around it staying super simple, and we thought it worked more. Better that way.
Yeah, okay. That way. Interesting, yeah. Now, what kind of is there other contemporary groups that you're kind of into right now? Like, I mean, I listened to something like a friend of mine actually brought this up to me. The Les Claypool, Sean Lennon, the Clayton Lennon Delirium. Have you heard them? Mm-hmm. They have a big emphasis like on lush harmonies and that kind of thing. I mean, are groups like that on your radar, or who you like currently?
Yeah, I'm not a huge Les Claypool fan, but I think he's an unbelievable talent. It's a little bit too jokey sounding to me, but mm-hmm. I do like Sean Lennon stuff. I like Ghosts of the Saber-Tooth Tiger a lot. I went to go see Roger play with Beck, and they were opening, and I obviously said, oh, there's Sean Lennon. I've seen Sean Lennon play with Mochiba and do other things over the years, but I was blown away at his guitar playing. The psychedelic solo particularly was not... I kind of also glaze over with like traditional blues-based guitar playing. It's fun. It's one of those things that's like jazz. It's fun while you're playing it, but I find it tedious to listen to. So I found his soloing was outside the norm of traditional blues-based guitar playing, which I always love, because it's. Are you a guitar player? Or?
Barely. But yes, I play, yeah.
But when you're watching, as a musician, when you're watching somebody do something and you can tell what he's doing, what he's going for, it becomes less inspiring. I like listening to people that do things that are not based on the traditional, how you learn to play this lick, or the Johnny B. Good lick, or whatever.
Right.
So that's why I like, and even, things like, I guess more contemporary things like what Tame Impala does, or a band called the Temples. Mm-hmm. Play more psychedelically than blues-based stuff. I'm always going to gravitate towards that kind of a thing.
No, totally. You're right. And you're right. It is fun to play, but do I necessarily want to listen to an hour of 12-bar blues? No. I mean...
Well, I don't mind listening to it if I'm out, like, painting my garage or something. It's fine. It's not as compelling to me as an art form. But, obviously I get it.
Sure.
Just, I look for different things.
Gotcha. Here, random question. Which one of the three of you first referenced the movie to suggest the band name?
Oh, that's a Roger thing.
Is it?
That's one anybody that knows Roger, he's a collector and curator of all things from the 60s and 70s, and it's based on that Italian sort of movie that I've only seen snippets of, and it's, it's like a soft porn movie, basically, but he had always liked that title, and we were thinking of names. Of course, I was like, but there's only three of us, and he said, exactly.
Yeah.
So, it's just an homage to that, almost like the Thompson twins were three people instead of two. So.
Right. I think I've read somewhere years ago, and this could be completely inaccurate, that at some point the Thompson twins had like 6 or 7 members. But.
Oh, yeah, but, it was always basically Tom Bailey's band.
Yeah.
And his wife at the time, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to make sure that people who've not, tuned in yet know where to find you guys on social media. The EP is out May 15th. Is that correct?
That's true, yes. May 15th.
And I want to make sure everybody knows where they can find it, where they can go to order it, download it, what have you.
Well, we're in pre-sale mode at our website, thelickerishquartet.com,
okay.
Where we've got some special things, merchandise, and like I said, we're selling our EP on a special colored vinyl that will have the instrumental versions. It's the only place you'll be able to get those. Of the 4 songs, and you can go to ingrooves.com and find us there, and you can pre-save our playlist there for Spotify and those kind of things too.
Perfect.
It's great if people can do that.
Perfect. Well, it's great to see the three of you back together again making music, and especially once I heard the music, I'm like, this is just exactly what I'd hoped it'd be. It's perfect. Well, anyway, I appreciate you taking the time out, and I'm certainly looking forward to getting the word out about this because it's fantastic stuff, and it's a breath of fresh air, really, and as far as the music's been coming out. So I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to hearing more from you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got 2 more EPs ready to come out later this year. So
oh, great!
More stuff to come.
That's good news. That's the biggest news. I didn't realize that. 2 more EPs.
Yeah, we just plan to sort of have some music coming out a little bit on a longer path as opposed to putting a whole record out at once.
Well, I tell you what, I talked to some younger bands about this several times over the last couple of years that I almost think it's not pointless to create an album, especially maybe if somebody want to do a concept album or something that has a big focus, but I almost think putting an individual song one every other month or one a month or a small grouping of songs is more viable because it keeps you on the radar more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're sort of walking that too. We're about to release a focus, the song Fadoodle will be released as a focus track tomorrow with a lyric video for it. But, because I've been running our social media stuff, and it's like trying to keep something new every day coming out is hard if you don't have any new music. But, it's a different way of living in the music world, but it's still cool.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because obviously the one album a year go on a 6-month tour is dead. You have to tour like crazy, of course, now, but
right.
But I think it's a good approach. Multiple EPs and just you've got a new song every month or something like that to focus on and keep out there. That's great.
Yep.
Cool. Well, appreciate it, Tim. Thanks again. And like I said, I'll be looking forward to it. And by all means, you or have Amanda shoot me any info when the new stuff is coming. I'd love to plug it and keep the word out for you guys.
Yeah, that'd be great. Hopefully we can talk some more.
Absolutely, Tim. I appreciate it.
Okay, man. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.
All
right. Bye.
Bye.